Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله تعالى فإن الله تعالى مع المتقين وبعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us to come out of the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us to be from those who dedicated ourselves to His worship through fasting and prayer and sadaqah, and today through celebration. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed us the purpose of our fasting was to acquire taqwa, and that is what we were engaged in, and that is what we live for, taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us to acquire taqwa, and taqwa is the best of that which we can acquire. And taqwa is to acquire God consciousness, to be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in public and in secret, when with people and when alone, when in the masjid and when in our homes. Taqwa is to be attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and attached to that which He wants from us at all times. And that's what we were training ourselves to do for the 30 days of Ramadan. We were training ourselves to follow that which He wants, even though we may not want it. I wanted to eat, but I said to myself no. I wanted to drink, but I said to myself no. Why? Because I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be pleased with my abstaining from that which I desire. And that is life. We are here for a short period of time, and we are here for a purpose, to live as people of taqwa. And just as has been mentioned over the past Eids, we break our fast at the end of the day, and we celebrate at the end of the month. When we abstain from this life, this dunya, bi'idhnillah, we will celebrate on Yawm al-Qiyamah. We will break our fast from this dunya with the food and the drink and the companionship and the abode of Jannah. That's our purpose here. And we stand here today facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qibla, worshipping Him, testifying to the iman of each other, testifying to the world that we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we stand for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And on Yawm al-Qiyamah, likewise, we will stand in front of Him, and we will stand together for our judgment. So we should remind ourselves as we leave the month of Ramadan, the purpose of this life, the purpose of Ramadan. Put us in that circumstance to develop within us that which we need to take out. And from the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this year, that the moon was sighted by those who started slightly later than others. And so on this day, we celebrate Eid together as an ummah, regardless of the opinions we were following, the start time and the end time of Ramadan. We celebrate together. And if we look beyond this park, beyond the Muslims in the UK, and we think globally, the Muslims today come together globally to celebrate in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to pray in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The seas are between us and land is between us, but our faith brings us together. From Afghanistan to Palestine to Africa, North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, the eastern parts of Europe, western parts of Europe, today we all celebrate and we all testify to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our takbirat. When we say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Wallahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. And it's not only us as Muslims that are celebrating. In this park, the surroundings testify to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The trees testify to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The blades of grass testify to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And on Yawm al-Qiyamah, the places that we prayed upon will testify that we believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and dedicated ourselves to Him on this day. That's the purpose behind our life. To testify. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us that He made us ummatan wasata litakunu shuhada'a 'ala an-nas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us that He made us a balanced ummah, an ummah in the middle, on the middle path. Why? To be witnesses, and to testify to mankind of the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this time today, when we see everyone indulging in that which they desire, the commodification of desires, consumerism thriving and pushing the economy, we as Muslims say no. We say no to ourselves. That's testifying to mankind. Why? Because we have a framework. And today we celebrate that we are believers. We celebrate our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We celebrate that we follow the final messenger, Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So I congratulate you all on this blessed day, and I congratulate all of us for the blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us, for making us from the best of ummahs, the best of people, the best of nations, the nation of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, the ummah of Islam. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. And for that blessing, the blessing of Islam, the blessing of Iman, the blessing of Salah, the blessing of Siyam, we have to be from Ash-Shakirin, those who are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who show what Islam means to them by dedicating their lives, dedicating their wealth, dedicating their intellect, dedicating their time to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, the one who made us, the one who sustains us, and the one to whom we will return. To be from the Shakirin, that was the way of the Prophet ﷺ. And to be from the Shakirin, we simply have to think about the blessings that Allah has bestowed upon us, the blessings of Eid, the blessings of Ibadah, the blessings of Iman, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us ihsan. To be from the blessings is the way of the Prophets. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, when he was dedicating himself in worship to the extent that his feet began to bleed, Aisha radiallahu anha said, why do you do this to yourself, Ya Rasulullah? He said, أَوَلَمْ أَكُنْ عَبَدًا شَكُورًا. Should I not be a grateful slave, a grateful servant? That is why we're here. We are here to celebrate, not only to celebrate and receive new clothes and see family, etc., to celebrate the success that Allah granted us in the month of Ramadan, and to celebrate the fact that we are from the ummah of Islam, and to show to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala our gratitude. And as we leave the month of Ramadan, remind ourselves that the Prophet ﷺ told us something, and it's very important to understand this. He said, "As-siyamu junnah," that fasting is a shield. As-siyamu junnah, a shield. We have come out of the month of Ramadan. That shield is now no longer with us, so we have to be on guard. Those of us that began to pray in the month of Ramadan, continue to pray. Those of us that increased our prayers, increase the prayers, continue them. Those of us that turned away from sin during the month of Ramadan, to continue with leaving off that sin, not to go back. We want to develop, not regress. We don't want to be from those that come out of the month of Ramadan and we go back into the haram. Let us think about the next year now. How can I develop myself through this year so that when the next Ramadan comes along, I can increase myself further? And after that, the next year, until I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's our goal. That's our purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed us, He created us to worship Him. And what we're doing now is worship. Celebrating Him, celebrating our Iman, celebrating our success. And with that, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you all a blessed Eid. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we are gathered here today in front of Him to worship Him, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to gather us amongst His righteous servants on Yawm al-Qiyamah, who stand behind the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, those who testify to mankind of His oneness, those who testify to mankind of the truth of the Prophet's message, and those who dedicated themselves to him. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Warda Allahumma an Abi Bakr wa an Umar wa an Uthman wa an Ali wa an sa'ir sahabati ajma'in. Allahumma taqabbal minna wa taqabbal minkum wa salli lahum ala Sayyidina Muhammad.